Welcome everyone, join us today as we honor the life and legacy of Kasem, the iconic radio host whose voice defined America's top 40, and brought the cartoon character Shaggy to life for generations. So let's dive in. Kasem, born Kamal Amin Kasem, on April 27, 1932, in Detroit, Michigan, in the United States of America. Born into a Lebanese-American family, Kasem was the son of immigrants Amin and Helen Kasem, who ran a grocery store. Growing up in a culturally rich environment, he was surrounded by diverse musical influences that helped spark a lifelong passion for music. At Northwestern High School in Detroit, he first dipped his toes into broadcasting by covering school sports, inspired by dreams of becoming a professional baseball player. After graduating, Kasem landed an internship at WDTR, Michigan's first educational FM station. While studying speech education at Wayne University, he picked up his first paid radio job, ushering for Quizdown, a weekly quiz show on WXYZ. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a start. Before long, his voice made it in front of the mic. He starred in The Adventures of Scoop Ryan, Cub Reporter, a radio serial produced by Wayne's Radio Guild and the Junior League, which followed Scoop and his grandfather on globe-trotting journalistic adventures. Encouraged by an engineer at Quizdown, Kasem auditioned for the role of Dan Reed, nephew of the Lone Ranger. Though he didn't land that part, he went on to voice characters in The Lone Ranger, The Green Hornet, and Challenge of the Yukon, gaining valuable experience on some of the era's most iconic radio shows. In 1952, Kasem was drafted into the Army and stationed in Korea, where he produced and performed radio dramas for the Armed Forces Network. He even built a makeshift studio in a Quonset hut, an early step in mastering his DJ skills. After his discharge in 1954, he returned to Wayne University and resumed acting at WXYZ, eventually launching his broadcasting career in Flint, before stints at Detroit's WJLB and WJBK, where he also appeared as children's host Krogo the Clown. After briefly leaving radio to help with the family grocery store, Kasem gave acting a shot in New York but returned to Detroit after missing out on a stage role to Ed Asner. Referred to WJW in Cleveland, he quickly rose to prominence hosting Cleveland Bandstand, where he went by Kasem at the mic. His late-night show mixed high-energy R&B with more relaxed segments, and his playful style, including comedy skits like the Payola Tune of the Night, made him stand out. Despite the Alan Freed Payola fallout, Kasem's career remained solid. After a brief move to Buffalo's WBNY, he made stops at KYA San Francisco and KEWB Oakland, where he began mixing artist bios with music, developing the storytelling style that would later define him. By 1963, Kasem was at KRLA in Los Angeles, supporting East LA's R&B scene and picking up TV and movie roles, including appearances on Hawaii Five-0, Ironside, and even The Dating Game. He hosted Shebang alongside Dick Clark and played quirky characters in biker flicks like The Glory Stompers and The Cycle Savages. But it was Kasem's voice that truly launched him into pop culture. In 1964, he recorded the spoken-word single, Letter from Elena, during peak Beatlemania. Then in 1969, his iconic role as the voice of Shaggy on Scooby-Doo began, cementing his place in cartoon history. Kasem launched a revolutionary new radio program on July 4, 1970, with partners Don Bustany, Tom Rounds, and Ron Jacobs, American Top 40. Using Billboard's Hot 100 chart as its foundation, the show counted down the 40 most popular songs in the US each week, wrapped in artist trivia, nostalgic throwbacks, and the heartfelt long-distance dedications that became one of Kasem's trademarks. While it began modestly, airing on just 7 US stations, the format quickly gained traction. By the late 1970s, the show had expanded to a 4-hour runtime and reached international listeners. Its popularity skyrocketed globally. By the early 1980s, American Top 40 was being broadcast in over 50 countries, including major markets like the United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada. It also reached audiences in South Africa, Japan, the Philippines, and numerous European countries, helping bridge pop music cultures around the world. Even after Kasem stepped away from the show in 1988, its international syndication continued via Radio Express, ensuring his voice was still heard on the global stage. The show's success led to a television counterpart, America's Top 10, which Kasem hosted as well. Meanwhile, his voice became a fixture in the world of animation, playing memorable roles like Peter Cottontail, Robin in Super Friends, Alexander Cabot III in Josie and the Pussycats, and narrating specials such as The Return of the King and Sesame Street segments. On screen, he made appearances in quirky TV roles and movies like The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant, The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew Mysteries, Charlie's Angels, and Quincy M.E. He also spent time as NBC's staff announcer and had a voice cameo in Ghostbusters, as the host of American Top 40, no less. In 1983, Kasem helped create the American Video Awards, intended to serve as a music video version of the Oscars. He hosted the ceremony during its 4-year run until 1987. After a contract dispute with ABC Radio, Kasem exited American Top 40 in 1988. Not long after, he signed with Westwood One and launched Kasem's Top 40, this time using the radio and records airplay chart instead of billboards. He also hosted Kasem's Hot 20 and Kasem's Countdown, continuing to build on the format he had pioneered. That same year, he was invited to host the Radio Hall of Fame induction ceremony, an acknowledgement of his legendary career in broadcasting. He also continued voice work, lending his talents to characters in Battle of the Planets and the Transformers animated series, voicing characters like Blue Streak, Cliffjumper, Teletran 1, and Dr. Arkville. But during Transformers' third season, Kasem left the show after objecting to certain Arab racial stereotypes he found offensive. Between 1989 and 1998, Kasem was a New Year's Eve fixture on Nick at Night, where he counted down the top reruns of the year. He also popped up in sitcoms like Saved by the Bell and Alf. In 1997, Kasem stepped back from voicing Shaggy after refusing to do a Burger King ad, as promoting meat clashed with his vegan beliefs and animal rights advocacy. American Top 40, which had continued under Shadoe Stevens after Kasem's departure, was eventually cancelled in 1995. But in 1998, Kasem regained the rights to the name and brought American Top 40 back to life through the AM/FM network, which was later absorbed by Premiere Radio Networks. He hosted the revived version until 2003, when he passed the baton to Ryan Seacrest. Still, Kasem continued to host adult contemporary countdowns like American Top 20 and American Top 10 for several more years. Even in the 2000s, Kasem's voice remained a familiar sound on programs like American Top 40 Live, and specials for WGN, America's Out of Sight Retro Night. He briefly hosted the American version of the game show 100% during the 1998-1999 season. In 2002, he returned to the role of Shaggy, his most beloved cartoon character, after the character was revised to become a vegetarian. In June 2009, just shy of his 80th birthday, Kasem officially retired from radio. Premiere ended production of his remaining countdown shows, and Kasem decided not to seek a new syndicator. He chose to close this chapter of his life exactly 39 years after launching American Top 40. He also officially retired from voice acting in 2009, though he still quietly contributed to Scooby-Doo projects uncredited, including voicing Shaggy's father, Colton Rogers, in Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, between 2010 and 2013. Over the course of his career, Kasem voiced more than 100 TV commercials and became one of the most recognizable and trusted voices in media. Kasem often said his voice wasn't perfect, it was raspy, ordinary, even flawed, but perhaps that was what made it so relatable. Millions around the world felt a sense of warmth, nostalgia, and sincerity every time they heard him. For over 4 decades, his voice didn't just count down hits, it became the sound of comfort, connection, and consistency in the ever-changing world of popular music. Alongside his demanding career, Kasem remained deeply committed to humanitarian and social causes. A passionate advocate for change, he supported a wide range of initiatives, including anti-smoking and anti-alcohol abuse campaigns, anti-discrimination efforts, and the promotion of vegetarianism, reflecting his own personal values. Proud of his Arab heritage, he frequently spoke out against racial intolerance and encouraged individuals to believe that they could make a difference. Starting in 1981, Kasem became a regular presence on the Jerry Lewis Labor Day telethon, lending his voice both locally and nationally to raise awareness and funds for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, which later honored him by naming him a vice president. He also supported a number of other progressive causes, including affordable housing and the rights of the homeless. His tireless efforts and influence were recognized through numerous accolades, including a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and induction into the Radio Hall of Fame in 1992. On a personal note, Kasem was married twice. His first marriage was to Linda Myers from 1972 to 1979. Though their relationship ended due to Kasem's temper, with Linda calling him a screamer, she always spoke of him with affection and wished they had worked things out. They had 3 children, Kerry, Mike, and Julie. Kerry went on to become a successful radio and TV host, producer, and founder of the Kasem Cares Foundation, which advocates against elder abuse. Mike also followed in his father's footsteps as a radio DJ and actor, working in Singapore, where he lives with his wife, Sue Ann Heng, and their daughter, Kasem. Kasem and Linda's youngest daughter Julie stayed out of the public eye. In 1980, Kasem married actress Jean Thompson, known for her role on Cheers and its spin-off The Tortellas. They had one daughter Liberty, and remained together until Kasem's death. In 2007, Kasem was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, though it was later revealed he was actually suffering from Lewy body dementia, a condition that mimics Parkinson's and sadly, gradually took away his ability to speak. As his health declined in 2013, a bitter family dispute emerged. His second wife Jean restricted contact between Kasem and his children from his first marriage, leading to protests outside their Santa Monica home. Despite an initial court denial, daughter Kerry was granted temporary conservatorship in May 2014 after Jean removed Kasem from his care facility and hid his whereabouts. He was soon located in Washington state, bedridden and suffering from serious medical complications, including bedsores and high blood pressure. A judge later ruled that Kasem should receive hydration, food, and medication, but this was reversed when it became clear his body was no longer responding. Honoring Kasem's 2007 directive to avoid prolonged life without cognitive function, the family made the difficult decision to place him on end-of-life care. Sadly, on June 15, 2014, Kasem died at St. Anthony's Hospital in Gig Harbor, Washington, at the age of 82. The immediate cause of death was reported as sepsis caused by an ulcerated bedsore. His body was handed over to his widow, and reportedly, Kasem was buried in Oslo Western Civil Cemetery in Oslo, Norway. This was due to Jean's claims of her Norwegian heritage, and her desire to fulfill his alleged wish of being buried in a place symbolizing peace and resembling heaven. This decision, however, was met with strong opposition from Kasem's children from his first marriage, who wanted him buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, Los Angeles. In November 2015, 3 of Kasem's children and his brother filed a wrongful death suit against his widow Jean, accusing her of elder abuse and emotional distress. A 2018 police investigation, initiated by a private investigator working for Jean, found no evidence of foul play, and the case was settled in 2019. And there you have it. Though Kasem is no longer with us, his voice lives on through the decades of radio magic he created. From his iconic characters and tireless advocacy to the loved American Top 40, Kasem wasn't just a DJ, he was a trusted friend to millions of listeners, and will continue to inspire and bring comfort for generations to come. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos just like this. Take care and bye for now.